I want to take everyone through a quick little lesson on how to do what we're going to call multiplicity. This is just a very straightforward visual effect that is kind of a good first one to do in After Effects. To start with, I'm going to use a clip that we filmed, I don't know, a year ago or something with River. And what we're going to do is we're just going to import this clip, and this clip, as you can see, is filmed 1920 by 1080. It lasts for about 1:31, and I'm just going to take this entire clip and make a new composition out of it by dragging it onto the new composition. So this gives me the entire length of it right here, which is again about 1:30. So the idea here is we're going to have River kind of interact with himself, or at least show up himself in multiple areas on the screen at once. And the way you do this is you have to think about imaginary lines that are happening in the video that you never have your actor cross, at least when you're first starting off. The other key part of this is that you want to use a tripod. So you want to keep the shot as steady as possible. Don't even touch the tripod. You need to make it still, or else you're going to lose that illusion. So as I go through this clip, you'll see that River will start by kind of walking into the scene, and right now I'm going to imagine there's a bit of an imaginary line just to his left there. Now as I scrub through, and so he's waving there, so I scrub through, then he's going to cross that line, but that's okay because he's not going to be there permanently, and now he's just going to be sitting on the rail. But again, that line was right there, and so as long as his feet don't cross that imaginary line, we're good. So I think this is a four-part multiplicity. So then he kind of walks over, and he's lasting, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds in each spot. And eventually we're going to overlap all of them. So if he's 10 or 20 seconds at each spot, the final composition will be 10 or 20 seconds. As you keep going, okay, then he does one where he just kind of like pokes his head in from the side there. Oh, there we go. And then that's it. So what we need to do here, first off, we should understand some definitions. This right here is known as a clean plate. We have nothing in the plate that is going to distract us, so we can always use this to kind of patch problems. Now the one issue that you may notice, there's actually a little bit of movement down here, so these are the things you really want to watch for when you're filming. Visual effects becomes much more difficult when you have moving objects in your background, such as trees blowing in the wind, cars moving, etc., etc. So I think we'll be okay with that. What I'm going to do first is I am going to duplicate this layer here. So in visual effects, you will be building vertically quite a bit. So Control D, nice easy way to duplicate it. And I'm just going to hide the bottom layer. Eventually I'll come back to it, but for now I'm fine. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the spot where he kind of walks right in, and there we go. So we'll just start right there on that cut. And I am going to shorten that clip. To shorten the clip, I'm going to select this clip, and I'm going to hold down Alt and the open square bracket. Now, just so it's a little less confusing, I'm actually going to rename this layer here, and I'll call this River Left. So he's on the camera's left there. Now, he's only going to go until he starts walking and crosses that line. So right there, when he stops waving, I'm going to close this by holding down Alt and hitting the close bracket. So now I have this little clip here that is just him waving, and it lasts, again, about 10 seconds. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the original plate again, and then I'm going to rename this, and I'll call this River Rail, because he's sitting on the rail. And I'm going to turn off the River Left. I like to do these all separately. And I'm going to take the River Rail right there, so he gets up onto the rail, he's sitting, he's kind of secure there, and we will once again Alt, open bracket, until he comes down right about there, Alt, close bracket. And I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to stack it on top. So you can see there, I actually got about, I don't know, 13, 14 seconds out of that. Take the next one, Control D. Let's call this one River Lean maybe, because he is leaning. And we'll able to find the spot where he, oops, sorry, turn off the river rail, turn on the river lean, and scrub over right about there. Again, Alt open bracket, just until he moves out of the way. Alt close bracket, drag that over. And then finally, I'll do it one more time, Control D, bring that up to the top, hide that layer, activate this one, and we'll call this river pokehead. Kind of pokes his head in there. And there's my endpoint right there. Maybe I'll have him exit out. So there's my endpoint, and my starting point or my in point for that clip is going to be, we'll do it right there. I think it's kind of funny that he'll poke his head in like that. Okay, so now what I've got here is I've got the original plate right here that if I activate it, I do have a scene where I've got emptiness if I ever need it. Now I'm not going to use, actually no, I will use some of that. That'll be fine. So that's where I'm going to hold that plate right there. Now we're going to start building the other one here. So we're going to start with the river left. Actually, you know what? I won't use the bottom one. I think I'll just use, I'll use that if I need to, but I don't think I do for this clip. I'm going to use the river left as the bottom one. It's kind of the base layer here. So I'm going to keep that one on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the river rail. Now with river rail, I'm going to turn off river left and look at river rail. I'm actually going to go to my pen tool and do what's called a mask. So I'll take the pen tool here, and I'm just going to, doesn't have to be tight or anything like that, just do a loose mask around him. Now you want to consider if he is moving, there we go. If he's moving around, like his arms are waving or something like that, you want to make sure that he doesn't go outside of that mask. So that looks pretty good. Oh, maybe I lose his leg a little bit there. Oh, no, it's not too bad. Okay. One other thing that I always do when I'm doing masking is you probably want to feather it a little bit. So if you open river rail and you open up your mask, open up mask 1, just increase the feather. Doesn't have to be a lot. It's just going to help blend things a little nicer. So there we go. I added about 60, 50, something like that. Okay, so river rail is now done. And I'm just going to hide that. So now we're going to do the same thing on river lean. So river lean, I'll just kind of get a rough idea. He doesn't move very much. It makes it easy. I will take my pen tool and I'll just do a really easy mask around him. Something like that. If I need to adjust it, I can just come down here and grab it like that. I can even zoom out. You can grab masks like all the way outside of your frame there if you need to. And maybe I'll give him a little more headroom there. That looks pretty good. And I will then go into the lean and I'll go to my mask, open up my mask, and I'll do about the same feather. We'll do about 50 again. Just softens the edges. You can see if you're too close to the head, like that, you kind of get a little bit of the head disappears. So that's why I want to give myself a little bit of a buffer. And we'll do the last one here. We'll go to river poke head. We'll select it. I'm going to take a mask now. What does he do? He comes in, doesn't really wave. He made this really easy on us, which is great. And I'm just going to, nice easy mask, go around like that, open it up, and give a bit of a feather, about a 50 maybe. There we go. Okay, so if we look at what we've done here, we've essentially just masked out different parts of a clip that was all done on a tripod. So we'll use this as the very bottom layer because I don't have to cut him out. I could mask him out and just lay everything on the bottom one, but I'm just going to leave it like this. And if you actually put all those on, you can see where your lines appear. Okay, and because I'm stacking them, it's going to work out great. Now, if you actually did not use a tripod, this is going to be really, really messy. It's not going to work at all. You have to get into motion tracking and it's just a lot tougher. So this is just the basic idea. Static tripod. We add on or we mask around different spots. Always think about those lines when you're filming. Do not let your actor cross those lines. And now, of course, to fill in the gaps, all this transparent paste, all I have to do is activate this one, and I've got a nice clip here. Keep going. Now the audio is a mess on this because there's lots of talking and stuff, so I probably have to put my own audio in there. But you can see that he shows up in multiple locations and it looks pretty good. There's not a lot of issues there. The only thing that's messy now, of course, is that this whole thing it's a minute 30. Some of these clips last for a while, some disappear. I mean, it's ugly. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't even think I need this original base plate anymore. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna take all these clips and I'll just shift select them. I like where they start. I'm gonna go here to the shortest one. The shortest one is kind of your, that's kind of your baseline. So if you did 4 shots of somebody and one of them is 5 seconds and the rest are 20, you're limited by that 5 seconds. So in this case, I'm limited at about just over 10 seconds. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to do my open bracket, my closed square bracket. That tightens everything up. And then last thing is I will just take my work area here and I will shorten it right there. And this thing right here, 1:4 multiplicity, that's a great name for it. This is now a composition that anytime I want to, I can open this up and I can do my editing on it, or I can just make a new composition. I'll just call this, I don't know, my final render. And let's make this 1920 by 1080. When you're ready to submit your VFX reel, you just take all of these compositions. So here's my 1:4 multiplicity, drag it in there, and there it is. Okay, and it lasts whatever we talked about those 10 seconds there. And
Wait, keep going, keep going, a little more.
looks great. Okay, so that's your multiplicity effect.